today is Pat Carver, who currently heads the communication effort at Michigan Partners for Freedom, facilitated by Community Drive Incorporated. This knowledge is based or designed upon building circles of support and training, and self-determination and curriculum development. These are vital steps. Support and encourage those with disabilities to make choices, their lives and dreams to have support and helping teams. You work with the process of person-centered planning. This is a vital, and as hosts, we benefit from our plans to voice our dreams and choices without outcoming of living a full and beginning part of communications. Let's welcome Pat Carver. Hello, Pat.
Hello, thank you.
Pat, tell us about your family growing up.
I grew up in Northern Virginia, right outside of Washington, D.C. My father was a journalist. There was 6 children. I was the 3rd girl, and then there were 3 boys born after me.
That's cool.
My brother, born right after me, has a disability, which is how I got interested in working in the field.
What educational path have you followed?
What educational path have I followed? I have a Bachelor of General Studies from the University of Michigan. I studied journalism and special education. I've done a little bit of master's work, but never really settled down to get a degree.
Did you obtain a teaching certificate? If so, in what area?
I studied special education, but I purposely did not get a teaching certificate. I just learned about teaching methods. I learned about different disabilities, but I knew I wouldn't do well in a teaching environment, in an education environment. So I studied special education, but didn't get the teaching certificate, no.
Oh. Pat, have you worked at all levels in the field of special education?
I've worked in the field of disability advocacy, in community advocacy, self-determination. Not too much in special education, except in doing some special ed advocacy for inclusive education. I've worked as an advocate to assist people in school who want to be part of general and regular education.
Tell us about your work of nonprofit groups.
I think everywhere I've ever worked is a nonprofit group. I've worked in all kinds of agencies, local agencies, statewide agencies, even national agencies, and they've all been nonprofit. I worked for the Autism Society on a statewide level. I worked for a local ARC, several local ARCs in different states on a local level, and also with you two, David and Ryan, on Michigan Partners for Freedom, which is a project in a nonprofit that is statewide. And I've done some work nationally with the National Center on Self-Determination, and now with the National Sibling Leadership Network, which is a national group. So all my work is nonprofit. I've not gotten rich off doing this work.
What work have you provided with residential services?
Residential services. I started out running group homes. My first job out of college was a executive director of a nonprofit association called Resident Home Association, and we had 3 group homes, started out. By the time I left, we were up to 11 group homes, and lots of people living in apartments and being supported independently. Now this was in the 80s, when group homes were a new concept, and it was kind of the state of the art. And we thought that was the best thing for folks back then. Our thinking has expanded, and people are living in all kinds of different places, but back then, group homes was really a cutting edge idea. And I realized that group homes were kind of a strange way in which to live when I was working for a nonprofit and trying to raise money for the association, and I was giving a tour of the group home to some ladies that belonged to a church organization, and I was showing them around the home And we did a tour and walked through people's bedrooms, and then at one point we walked through the bathroom, and I'm saying, and this is the bathroom where people live, people live here, use. And I thought, this is really weird. Why are we walking through someone's house? This is kind of intrusive, and it doesn't feel like this might be the right thing, to be traipsing through someone's home. And I started thinking about group homes and the idea of people living in groups of 6, and thought that we needed to come up with some different options. And thankfully, with the onset of self-determination and people having individual budgets and people living in all kinds of situations, we aren't limited to just group homes these days.
Share with us details about the Center for Association Self-Determination International.
Center for Self-Determination was a group that was, it was virtual. We didn't really have an office. I lived here in Michigan. My boss worked, he lives in Connecticut, and then we had consultants all around the states, all around the United States, who we would do training and consultation on helping systems change to support people living self-determined lives.
Tell us about policy making with Michigan Partners of Freedom.
Michigan Partners for Freedom is a project which has one goal, and that goal is to enhance demand for self-determination. So a lot of the work that we do is supporting people to tell their story of self-determination, to meet with policymakers. Ryan was part of putting together a wonderful guide for policymakers on how to be in touch with your legislators, how to stay in touch, how to get them to address your issues. And many of the local leaders participate in training and that help them to be policy advocates and also meet with legislators. I also had the wonderful fortune of coordinating a project several years ago in Michigan called Michigan Partners in Policymaking, and it was a course for young parents and young people with disabilities to learn about policymaking, and that's being reinvented now at the ARC Michigan. It's coming back, and there's a new project called Leaders in Policy Advocacy, which is a training project for people with disabilities and young parents of children with disabilities.
Cool.
It's a magical program because within the class, the learning goes on. The young parents learn from young men like you. They learn your story. They learn how you're living and how you're successfully being a part of your community. And it gives them hope for their children, where they get to meet people that are living full lives. And the magic in the class is that the parents learn from the young people who are in the class. And it's something to be proud of, the state of Michigan, to have this project.
What association do you have with the ARC?
What association do I have with the ARC? I have a lifelong association with the ARC. My parents actually started the Northern Virginia ARC back in the 60s.
Whoa.
My brother and I were born in the late 50s. He's 13 months younger than me, so we were very close. And when I went to public schools, he went off to church basements, and my parents started the ARC there so that they could meet other parents and have support on how to raise their child who didn't have a lot of support. I've worked for ARCs. I worked for ARCs in Florida, New Hampshire, here in Michigan, and am a member of the Association for Community Advocacy, which is the ARC in Ann Arbor.
Wow, blow me down.
You know what else is cool about the ARC is I was a member of ARC Youth USA. We used to go to, when I was a teenager, go to conferences all over the United States, ARC conferences, learning about disabilities and how to do all the things that I'm doing today. They don't have it anymore. There's not a youth ARC, but it was a really wonderful part of my background.
Youth ARC.
Youth ARC. There used to be Youth NARC.
Youth
The
NARC.
National Association for Retarded Children, we said.
That's a little rude.
Yes, it is rude.
You call them. That's a nice thing to say about someone. That's not very nice.
No, and children wasn't very good either because we weren't just
No.
dealing with children. So then we changed it to citizens, and now it's just the ARC.
Yeah, I see, I know.
Yep.
In your own words, what is self-advocating?
Wow. It's speaking up for yourself and organizing with others to address issues that are important to you. you guys can answer that better than I. What is self-advocacy? But since I'm being interviewed today, probably should continue with the questions.
In your own words, what is self-determination?
Self-determination is a shift in the way in which people with disabilities are supported. Like I talked about the group homes and how at one point all that was available for people was group homes. When my brother was growing up, what was available was institutions. And the government money went to support institutions and group homes and things that we've learned maybe aren't the best. And self-determination is about shifting the funding to follow the person. We're talking about funding people, not programs. With self-determination, there's 3 tools. One of them is that individual budget. And with that individual budgets, then people are able to buy services and support that they need, as opposed to being put in a slot that somebody else might dictate, or a provider might say, this is what we offer. We offer A, B, and C, when you look at your life through your person-centered planning, and you may want option D. You may not want A, B, or C. And so self-determination is about directing your own way and using that public dollar to support your own way. Self-advocacy is a piece of self-determination. But self-determination is about a shift in control.
What techniques have you developed in building helping teams and support teams?
What techniques? I would say the technique is building circles of support. Oftentimes, people may need some help making decisions, or may want to make a change in their life, and so they call together what you say is a helping team, or they call together their friends and their allies, their parents, their neighbors, people that care about them, and have meetings and make plans. And I'm going to a person-centered planning, not a person-centered planning, a circle of support meeting next Monday for a woman who is an artist. And her circle, we're all meeting at a shop in Walled Lake where we're going to look at the merchandise and see if she can sell her wares there. And then we're all going to dinner, and we're going to discuss her person-centered plan, see where she is on meeting her goals. And it's a support circle to help people meet their goals.
Can you also explain about the budget video?
The budget video? Yeah.
Can you explain?
Can I explain it? The budget video is called Owning the Process, and you had a great part in that, talking about your self-determination and how the individual budget, how you control your finances and how you spend your money with the help of your family and support. The budget is available. The video is available at the Michigan Partners for Freedom website if people would like to see that.
Can you please repeat that again?
The Michigan Partners for Freedom has a website. It's myfreedom.org, I hope.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Now, what is community training, connection training, and who takes it?
Community Connections training is something that I do through my company called Community Drive. One of the things that we've realized throughout all the years of working with people that live in a variety of ways is that people want to be connected to their community. People want to have friends. Regardless of who you are, the things that make your life meaningful are family and friends and relationships. And sometimes our systems have separated people from the regular mainstream of life, from their community. And so sometimes we have to help people get connected. What I do is help the staff, people who provide support, people who work in group homes, people who work in sheltered and workshops, and I help them to figure out how to connect people to their community. We start by looking at the person's interests, and then we look around in the community to see what may be of interest. And I train group home staff, individual personal supporters, assistants, and right now I'm working with some day programs that are changing how they do business and helping people get connected to their community instead of going to a day program all day.
Thank you.
What groups work with sisters and brothers who have special needs?
That's the most exciting thing I'm involved in right now.
You are?
Yeah, it's really exciting. I'm a member of the National Sibling Leadership Network, National Sibling Leadership Network. We just had our annual meeting in Pittsburgh last week. We got some press in the Pittsburgh papers. There's actually a picture in the paper of me going like this because I was telling a story about my brother, and we got together. There was over 75 people from all around the country who are brothers and sisters of people with disabilities, and we look at ourselves as a new advocacy movement, an advocacy movement to support self-advocates. We surely don't want to speak for our brothers and sisters. We don't want to be parents of our brothers and sisters, but oftentimes when parents pass away or family things change, brothers and sisters are there to help and support. So we've organized to come up with a group of brothers and sisters that are advocates. We have a group here in Michigan called My Sibs, Michigan Sisters and Brothers Supporting, and we have a website on My Sibs, and we're getting started organizing throughout the state of Michigan. It's a good thing because brothers and sisters, I think, really want good lives for their brothers and sisters with disabilities. We want our brothers and sisters to have meaningful lives, but we don't have that role of wanting to protect them and keep them safe like parents do. And so I think it's a way in which we can expand the idea of family support. I know with my own brother, I want him safe, but I also want him to have a full life, and I want him to be able to make mistakes and screw up and, you know, just learn from his mistakes. And as a parent, I know with my own children, I just kind of want to keep them safe. So it's a different role. For so long, parents have been very strong advocates. Now we've got a very, very strong self-advocacy and people speaking up for themselves. This is just a new way in which to draw family in and build more support.
What are some virtual points during a person-centered planning meeting?
What are some personal points?
Virtual. VITAL.
Oh, okay. Vital?
Yeah.
Okay. In doing person-centered planning? That's a good question. For me, the most important thing is to not tread on people's dreams. I think so often when we're doing planning, we are in a hurry to get things done, and we're in a hurry to get goals, and we're in a hurry to get on to the next thing. And I think with person-centered planning, we have to be very careful to listen and to really hear what people are saying about what they want out of their lives. Oftentimes, their dreams are one of the few things that they actually have. And it's as professionals, it's our responsibility to listen to those dreams and to support them so that they can happen, or at least have a good chance of happening.
Now, what is there for those challenge individuals strengthen and can strengthen to create a community?
What are the ways in which to help create a community? I think when you get people together that have shared interests, you become a community. I know with the circle of support that I was talking about, we're organized around this one young woman who's an artist, but what has happened is we have built our own community, and we care about each other, and we see each other every other month, and we know about each other's families, and we've created community that way. I think we have to be careful in our services to not think of community as stepping outside of the group home or stepping outside and now we are in the community, because really being in the community is not the same as being part of the community and being of the community.
Thank you.
What would a special community look like?
A special community would look like, I think the circle of support is a good example of a special community, a community that's organized around an individual. But communities can take on so many different things. If you look at the word community, it means with unity. And so community isn't, it's not necessarily like Lake Orion or Troy, Michigan, community is a place where people belong, where people have a role, where people fit in, where it's kind of like that. Remember that show Cheers?
Yep.
When Norm would walk in and everybody say, "Hey, Norm,"
Hey,
you know,
Norm.
everybody knows your name. That would be my definition of a community, where if you don't show up, you're missed.
Wow.
I never thought of it that way before.
I spent a lot of time thinking about it.
Tell us more about speaking efforts of the Michigan Partners of Freedom, Connection, audiences, transportation issues, and reporting event.
About Michigan Partners for Freedom, local leaders having their speaking events. There are over 100 local leaders across the state of Michigan, and all of them speak to a variety of events. They speak to their school systems, they speak to their local government entities, their CMHs, and some have been very creative. We've had people in Wayne County speak to the Boy Scouts. We've had, you guys have done a lot of public speaking before and doing your story on self-determination. And you have shared your stories with schools, with staff, with CLS, Community Living Services. But as I said, the whole point of Michigan Partners for Freedom is to enhance that demand for self-determination, so other people can say, you know what, I see your life and I think it's great and I want to live a life like you. What can I do? And that's where local leaders come in and say, well, this is how I live my life. You tell your story and people join in, and we just keep telling the systems and the policymakers that we want to keep self-determination as an option for people in Michigan.
Please share information how our folks can reach you. Further information about these important activities.
They can reach me at Community Drive, which is my organization, but it's the reason why my company is named Community Drive is that happens to be the name of the street that I live on. My husband and I raised our family on Community Drive, and when I went into business for myself, I just named it after my street. And it works out well because we do so much community work. But how you can reach me is www.communitydrive.org.
Please tell us some success stories.
Success stories.
Yes.
Well, I think being here is a success story. I think I feel very honored to be on your show.
Thank you, Pat.
I think that you guys are doing a really good job. I was excited about coming here. It makes my success in my life is enjoying who I work with. And I enjoy working with, I've just met you, but I too know these gentlemen well from Michigan Partners for Freedom.
Of course you know us.
And can't forget us.
Yes.
Can't forget you.
Of course you can, Pat.
And I value your senses of humors. You make me laugh, and that would be a success for me.
Oh, hell, nice.
Sounds pretty cool.
That's right.
Yeah.
Can you please explain your papers here on this table?
Oh, I just bought some reminders for myself to speak about the Sibling Leadership Network.
Go ahead.
This one is for the Michigan Sibs, and let me make sure I got the website right. It's misibs.org. And that what we're organized here in Michigan is to pull together siblings, to share common experiences, to provide support for one another. We have our first statewide conference coming up in the fall. I'm going to a meeting after I leave here today to meet with other siblings to plan that conference. We'd like to get people from all over the state who are brothers and sisters to come. And we'll have topics. We'll learn about Sib Shops, which is an organization for children who have brothers and sisters. We're going to learn about estate planning and future planning, and also learn about ways in which we can support our brothers and sisters having meaningful, full lives.
That is a very important thing you're doing. I'm really proud of you for doing that.
Well, thank you.
Makes me feel like it's a vital component, vital in everyday life in America, because people need to have siblings.
It's America, folks. We love our country.
We do.
And most people have brothers and sisters.
I'll let you say a quick thing. Ain't you Neil Diamond? We now have a song to prove it. It's called America. I recommend the movie The Jazz. single.
You mean America?
Yeah.
Would you please close?
Pat, having you as our guest today has been wonderful. Your enthusiasm and fervor was catching. Sharing your life story of being in a family where your brother was special and how that promoted your life choices to serve those with disabilities, those in this field working with special education, families, siblings, and those in the community gain education so that individuals facing challenges can gain acceptance and respect. You have set a higher standard with girls and modeling of these skills has blessed so many. We thank you deeply. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Come on. I'm your host, Dan Taylor. My two friends are.
My name is Karnig. Also, you have been watching Community Corner on ONTV and CNN.
I'm Chris Ray, watching ONTV. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.